Well, here with us now is Clifford May, founder and president of Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Cliff, thank you so much for joining us in our studio this evening. In a recent Washington Times piece, you wrote that the absence of an off-ramp for Russia, it seems like there's an absence of an off-ramp for Russia. Is a diplomatic end to Putin's war in Ukraine, Cliff, all but unlikely?
It's unlikely at present, yes. Vladimir Putin has shown no signs that he wants to compromise. That doesn't mean he won't change his mind tomorrow. Things are, of course, have not gone the way he expected. He thought he would be able to take the country in a few days. He thought he would decapitate the leadership, probably kill Zelensky. None of that happened. He lost what's called now the Battle of Kyiv. He is fighting now for the eastern section of the country, Donbass. He would very much like a land bridge all down the eastern side and across the southern side to the Crimea, which he took from Ukraine in 2014. That's also proving challenging. The fighting in the eastern section of the country, I would say, is stalled or stalemated. Not that there's not bloodshed every day, but it's not clear which side is making progress. That's a frustration for Putin, but he has not yet shown any signs that he's willing to sit down and offer compromises.
With the world focused on Ukraine, there's a lot less attention right now being given to the Iran nuclear deal. It seems like the Biden administration was willing to make some pretty big concessions to get a deal done. Now, though, 4 years after the Trump administration pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, still no deal. Are Iran's rulers, Cliff, demanding too much, even for President Biden?
Yes, that's exactly the right way to say it, Jenna. Too much, even for President Biden, after having made no concessions that we know of to the U.S., after the U.S. making concession after concession. Essentially, the Iranians said, and they didn't say it directly to the Americans because they won't deign to sit in the same room at the same table with the Americans. So it's all done through other envoys, Russian envoys included, which is crazy, as I might add. So the Iranians are saying, okay, one more thing, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, you need to take it off your foreign terrorist organization list. Now that seems to be a bridge too far, because more than 600 Americans have been killed by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Our military people don't want to do that. And it appears at the moment that President Biden is saying, I can't do that either. By the way, at one point, I believe the Americans said to the Iranians, how about we take it off, but you promise, give us your word, that you won't try to kill any former or current American diplomats or government officials, because they'd said they want to kill John Bolton, they want to kill Mike Pompeo, they want to kill Brian Hook. They wouldn't even say that. And I'll add just this one more thing. The American government ought to say, not just, please tell us you won't kill American officials or ex-officials. How about you won't kill Americans at all? Because the Iranian government has threatened Americans, not least people in my think tank, by name. So we should demand a little more and not surrender to the Iranians. But for now, those talks are stalled, and the longer they're stalled, the better. We should be out of them.
You would think that would definitely deter any kind of deal coming through. And to your point earlier, it is confounding to think that Russians are involved in the nuclear deal process. Speaking of Iran, protests in Iran are now entering the second straight week amid rising food prices. The State Department tweeted a message of support for the protesters, saying they have a right to hold their government accountable. Cliff, how much pressure does this put on the regime?
Well, I think we know very clearly that people throughout Iran are they're tired of being ruled by theocrats, by Islamists, by jihadis. They're tired of seeing their economy suffer, and they protest. But it's very brave of them to protest, because this government has no compunction whatsoever about putting down those protests as hard as necessary. They will shoot as many people as they need to. They will jail as many people as they will need to. They're being brave, but it's not like this government says, well, at a certain point, we have to listen to the people. The government does not say that. Raisi, the current president, he's responsible very much personally, because of previous positions in the government, for thousands of deaths of Iranian citizens who were seen as dissidents or protesters or simply not loyal to the theocrats who run the country.
Yeah. All right, Clifford May, founder and president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. We appreciate you coming in this evening. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Cliff.